Hello there, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us tonight on UpNorthLive Unscripted at 6:30. Some of us got a special treat today and saw a little bit of sunshine, but not all of us were too lucky. But overall, pretty quiet day, a little warmer today than it was yesterday. But Joe says we do have some snow heading our way soon.
Yeah, by tomorrow morning, I think some spots, and then through the day tomorrow, Maya. So, yeah, I was not in one of those areas where the sun was out today.
Yeah.
We were hoping some areas did, as you said, get some sunshine or did see some sunshine. By the way, it was cold last night.
It's really cold.
Grayling, I was trying to look at the numbers here, but I got down to 17 below last night. So a little chilly. Will not be that cold tonight, thankfully. And then, as we mentioned, there is that chance for some snow coming in. And then if you have weekend plans, especially later in the weekend, it looks like another round of snow too. So kind of a little bit wintry coming up here, Maya. We'll have more on that in a few minutes.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Our top story tonight takes us to Wexford County. That is where it has been more than 2 months now since the county experienced a cyber attack. Now, most departments have found ways to work around the attack to continue moving forward and offer their services. However, the Register of Deeds office is still offline, and several people have reached out to us and they've told us that the shutdown is actually costing them money. So our Allie Baxter spoke with some of those people and has a full story.
Impacted me financially big time.
Pamela isn't the only person in Wexford County juggling multiple properties. After a cyber attack in November, Wexford's Register of Deeds office still hasn't found a workaround to keep real estate in the county moving.
When they do get up and running, finally, how many title searches are they behind on? Last time I knew, they were like 83 behind. That was probably a month ago.
Pamela's trying to sell a piece of land, and she needed a 3-month update on a title search to close the deal.
I just call every day and you get nowhere. My bank that I am selling this contract to calls every other day. They're frustrated too.
In Cadillac, Jason is trying to sell his house while getting a loan to build a new house on land he already owns. But he can't prove to the bank he owns the land and can't get his title insurance.
I was given a 10-day notice, and that was probably 15 days ago that it's gone dormant, and so we just have to start over from step one, which means instead of being able to break ground before all the snow, I'm looking at best maybe starting the building in probably April.
Jason said there's not a lot of people coming to look at his current home for sale because
no one can move a house in Wexford County at the moment.
A homeowner who used to live in Wexford County said she wanted to speak to us anonymously about her situation. She explained her house in Wexford was sold, but she can't transfer the deed to the new owners. It's left her on the hook for paying the bills for 2 homes.
We are losing probably about $1,500 a month. And then our poor buyers, they're kind of also sitting in limbo and losing money as well.
It's a financial domino effect. One person anonymously shared with us a family they know is living in a hotel until they can move into their new home.
And are they going to reimburse us for this? Probably not. So it's hurting us financially. I'm sure it's hurting them financially too, but who's really paying the price here?
And Allie is joining us live now from our content center. And Allie, what a nightmare for people trying to buy or sell a house in Wexford County right now.
Yeah, Maya, I feel like the Register of Deeds office is something you don't always think about until you have to go to them and you need something. And so this is a prime example of, someone was telling me today, I had never even needed anything from the Register of Deeds office before until today. She's like, I go in, when I go to vote, it's not even like a position I look at very closely for where my vote goes to because I just don't really have a good concept of what they do. And now I think a lot of people in Wexford County are having this understanding of, oh, this is why we really need the Register of Deeds office up, because you're not always interacting with them one-on-one. It's more so you're a realtor or a broker or the person you're trying to get your title insurance from, where you're getting mortgage, stuff like that. There's in between people who work more with the Register of Deeds than really the regular person does.
And this was kind of implied in your story and what you just said right now. But for those who maybe still don't exactly know what happens at the Register of Deeds, what are all the services that they provide?
Yeah, so really it's kind of basically keeping records of property ownership. So right now, that's why it kind of really boils down to real estate coming to a pause in Wexford County, because if you don't know who owns what land, you're just really relying on people's word, which, who would go and just kind of lie about what land they have. But you just have to be careful with those kinds of things. So when people are going to say, hey, we need to transfer our land titles or deeds to this person that we just sold this property to, there's no one that can make that transfer. There's no one that can keep that record.
So do we know why other offices are back up and running, but the Register of Deeds office is still offline from this cyber attack?
Yeah, from what I've been told, a lot of offices have just found other workarounds within Wexford County, and I'm sure it differs office to office. I was told today that the guy you met, Jason, who is trying to build a home, he's still able to go in and work on some of his building permits because that office is still up and running. And he said he credits that to the woman running that department, who said she kept paper backups of everything. So it's kind of been alleged that that office didn't keep any paper backups, and that's why they don't really have a workaround right now for trying to figure out, who owns what property and being able to look into some of those records.
And I think the big question is, when will the Register of Deeds office come back online? And I know you spoke with someone from the city. What did they tell you?
Yeah, they said right now, the county administrator, I was able to touch base with him this afternoon, and we really just wanted an update. A lot of people have this question. We've seen in some board meetings that there really hasn't been an update shared. And he said right now what they're waiting on is the software company they're working with to tell them next steps. So it seems like one entity waiting on another organization, and everything's just kind of coming down the chain of being able to get this Register of Deeds back online. But it's been a really long time. And what a lot of people told me today is they're frustrated that some of these workarounds or these conversations seem like they're coming a lot further down the line when they should have happened right when the cyber attack happened.
Right. And in the meantime, sounds like, I think you said this in your story, the entire real estate market is basically on pause right now in the entire county.
Yeah, which I feel like it's really hard for us to wrap our heads around. Like an entire county can't do any kind of real estate transaction right now. And you really see that in the sense that Jason said, I've had my home on the market, but nobody's coming to look at it, because why come look at it if you can't buy a home right now? So a lot of people are in these really difficult situations of, well, I sold my home, but now the person coming in can't take it. So there's a lot of just in limbo going on, and that has a domino effect.
Sure. And I'm trying to think of a silver lining to this entire situation. And maybe this will be a really great learning experience for the county and the Register of Deeds office. Maybe they will start keeping more copies moving forward, so something like this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, that was a conversation I had with the person who wanted to speak with us anonymously today. We kind of had that conversation of, it's a learning moment, but at the same time, it's come at the price of a lot of people who are in a really hard financial situation right now. That anonymous person told us they're paying $1,500 extra a month just to keep the utilities on and pay the mortgage on this house that's still in Wexford County that the new owners can't move into because they don't have the deed to it. So they're on the hook for paying 2 homes in 2 different counties, which is a big financial burden for them.
Sure. And then we heard someone is having to stay in a hotel right now because of all this as well. So I just can't even imagine what these folks are going through.
Yeah. And Maya talked to a few people today because we reached out to some lawmakers. We wanted to hear if they were aware of these things, that maybe they're looking into getting some help for Wexford County. But another thing I did hear today is a lot of people are wanting to potentially take legal action as well.
Anything else you want to mention, Allie, that we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah, a big point that came up today is people are empathetic. They understand that the people who are actually working in the Register of Deeds office, this is, they are really the faces of this, but they know that they are just as in the dark as other people are. So they said, we don't want to encourage anybody to call the people at the Register of Deeds office and harass them, because we know that they are trying their best. And at the end of the day, it is a long chain of command where it goes back to who is actually kind of having the information and making the decisions of how can we go backup line or not. So.
And I know something else that you mentioned in our 6 o'clock newscast was that if anyone else in Wexford County is going through this as well, that we want to hear their stories and try to share them if they want that. So people should just reach out to our newsroom with any of their personal stories.
Yeah, our newsroom email, we're going to be putting our contact information in the story when it goes on our website, UpNorthLive.com later, because we do want to hear from you guys. We do want to hear these stories because it seems like, just as we saw in my story earlier tonight, everyone's situation is a little bit different. Some are trying to sell a home while also waiting to get a loan. Some are just trying to sell their land. Some are just in these really in-between situations. And we think the more voices that we can get behind this, hopefully it does put a bit more pressure on the county government that this needs to be fixed and people don't have another month to sit around and wait for the Register of Deeds to be back online.
Right. All right, Allie, thank you so much for joining us on Unscripted tonight. And I'm sure this is a story that we will continue to provide updates on. And like Allie said, share your stories too if this is something that you are experiencing. Let's move on now. So almost 200 acres of beautiful and culturally significant land once again in the hands of its original owners. So the land is on the shores of Grand Traverse Bay in Leelanau County, and it was once known as Timber Shores. But as of this week and for the future, the land will be known by its original name. Our Mark Schlett has more.
Mashkig Aki means the place of the medicines.
188 acres, one of the last remnants of undeveloped shoreline within the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa's ancestral homelands, is being returned to them.
And I remember thinking back then, and it must have been the 1980s or 90s, how nice it would be if this were to come back to the Grand Traverse Band.
This land, a special place for them both today as well as in the past.
There's a lot of cedar, there's a lot of different types of trees there that have medicinal plants and trees that have medicinal value. There's also food value in a number of the plants. And of course, the shoreline and the access to the water.
The property, perhaps best known as Timber Shores south of Northport, served an important purpose for tribal members long ago, then became an RV park, the site of a proposed condominium development, and then most recently a proposal for a modern-day campground. Opposition to that turned to opportunity for the tribe.
We were approached by a new community vision. They had the goal of acquiring the land, but they weren't able to raise the funds. So they came to the tribe, asked if it was possible that if the Grand Traverse Band had an interest, and then there's grants and grant funds were sought through NOAA.
The $11.9 million Transformational Habitat and Coastal Resilience Grant from NOAA allowed for the band to acquire the land. They will once again be its stewards. While ultimately their efforts may keep things from being built here, their goal is to have it serve a purpose centuries in the making.
I would like to see it preserved and not, of course, preserved and undeveloped for the future generations. There's just I don't know of very many pieces of land that are not developed along the shoreline. So to have this untouched and undeveloped for the future is a great gift for our future generations of children.
That was Mark Schlett reporting, and securing the grants and obtaining the land are just the first steps. The tribe says they will create ecocultural restoration plans through tribal-led community engagement sessions. And that's a piece of land that, as Mark mentioned in his story, has kind of been in limbo for quite some time now. I think a lot of that video that Mark showed was video that I took when I was reporting on the story a couple of years ago when they wanted to turn it into a campground. And so many people were against that plan. So it's nice to see that that beautiful piece of land is back in the hands of its original owners. Now, let's turn things over to our question of the day related to this story. Should more land be given back to the Native American tribal bands in northern Michigan? You can scan the QR code on your screen right now. That will take you to our website where you can vote on our question of the day. We have 265 votes. Pretty split, but right now 60% of people say no. 40% say yes. You can also join the conversation by going to the Up North Live Facebook page. We have a post with our question of the day where some people are leaving comments that we will take a look at the end of the show. But we do need to take a quick break right now. We will be back in just a few minutes, and our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix, will have much more on the forecast for our Friday and for the weekend. Stay with us.
I'm Jada Johnson from Big Boys TV, and the Fish and Game Report is sponsored by Johnson's Propane.
Looks like another round of winter weather is on deck here in northern Michigan. So let's bring in our chief meteorologist, Joe Charlevoix. Joe, we're going to get some snow tomorrow, but how much could we see?
Not a lot. I mean, it's going to be a little messy tomorrow, but an inch or two, I think,
Okay.
for most spots. It's the system later Sunday into Monday next week that I think we'll get a little bit more than that coming in. But that's still a few days down the pipe here. Look at how cold it was last night, Maya. We got down to 17 below at Grayling. Congratulations. Gaylord 14 below, and then following up on that was Pellston. Typical cold spots down to 12 below zero. Now you might look at like Frankfurt and even Traverse City, Ludington, Manistee, and say, wow, it's a lot warmer there. And it was because we had clouds closer to the lakeshore. So it did not get that cold. You lose that blanket of clouds overhead and it gets pretty chilly. Even Drummond Island last night down to 5 below. Three big things in our weather. The forecast moving ahead here across northern Michigan. Round of light snow tomorrow, 1 to 2 inches for most of the area, probably closer to 1. Quiet start to the weekend. So if you have plans on Saturday, there could be a couple lingering lake effect snow showers. I don't think too much. And then we do have another clipper coming in Sunday into Monday. So with time on Sunday, we're going to start seeing conditions kind of deteriorating for travel with that potential for some snow. Big storm in the southern part of the country tonight. All those pink shaded areas, parts of states are under winter storm warnings from Georgia, even Mississippi and Alabama up into Kentucky, parts of Missouri, Arkansas, and then even into areas there around Dallas. We'll zoom in here, kind of a little closer look. Some messy weather that they're not quite used to all the time down there in the south. Meanwhile, back home, we have a little string of snow here from western Wisconsin, now getting into the UP, and that is our system for tomorrow. So this front arrives, not a lot happening tonight, but by tomorrow morning, there's 10, 11 o'clock, we'll start seeing snow crossing from west to east across the area. There's our front. And then behind that, there will be some lake effect snow. You can see this Friday night and then into part of Saturday. I still think Saturday, a couple snow showers around. I don't think it'll be a whole lot. And then Sunday, well, watch here, cloud up, and there's the system Sunday. That's a bit more of a widespread snow coming in, mid-morning and then into the afternoon on our Sunday. We talked about the snowfall tomorrow. There it is during the day, about an inch or two. Kind of pick out where you live here. And then a little lake effect will kick in. So, areas around Bel Air, for instance, could see a little bit more Friday night into part of Saturday down toward Kalkaska, for instance. Weekend plans? Well, here's the forecast. 28 to 30 on Saturday. A few passing snow showers. And then Sunday, steady snow rolls in on Sunday. It could be messy out on the roadways, upper 20s to mid 30s. And there's our extended forecast. Some of that snow will hang over into Monday. Scattered lake effect snow at times. Then we cool into the teens Tuesday. So a bit of an active forecast. This is not, we're not looking at a big monster storm coming in, but we do have chances for snow as we head into next week. So it'll kind of add up here slowly, Maya, over the next few days.
It looks like it could be a good weekend for folks wanting to hit the slopes.
Yeah.
Or maybe go out on the snowmobile trail, ice fish, all that fun stuff.
All that wintertime fun.
Exactly. Yeah. Alrighty. Thanks, Joe. Let's take another quick commercial break, but don't go anywhere just yet. Sports is next, and we will check in with sports director Harrison Beebe in just a few minutes. Another day of not exactly knowing what sports director Harrison Beebe wants to talk about for our sports segment. Harrison, what is on the agenda tonight?
Maya, you watched at 6, just like I'm sure some of
I guess
our
I could've
viewers
guessed
maybe
that.
did
Yeah.
it on the 7 and 4 broadcast. We're going bowling today. We did a feature on the Traverse City Christian boys and girls bowling teams. The entire segment is up on our website right now, UpNorthLive.com. But yeah, we got to interview the kids yesterday and kind of see what goes into making this kind of a mini powerhouse. They've won 4 total state titles since the year 2020. That's 3 team titles and an individual title combined on the boys and girls side in that time, including last year when they won both the boys and girls titles in Division 4, which is some pretty impressive stuff. Now, the team looks a little different this year. The boys team has a lot of guys back. The girls team, it's entirely different. There's only 3 girls out, and they're all freshmen, so kind of a new era in the making there. But we talked to them, and they all seem pretty upbeat about the opportunity to hopefully continue some of the winning legacies for the girls team down the road. But yeah, one of the senior boys, we talked to him, and Maya, you might like his answer to one of my questions. So you got the Lions hat on. Obviously, they're gunning for a championship just like you guys. Do you ever give yourselves a little Dan Campbell monologue to maybe fire you up in key moments?
Yeah, always. I mean, Dan Campbell, everything he's doing with the Lions is super cool, and I like to have the mindset of, just keep going. Like even if it looks like your game is weakening, it's always there, and you can always fall back onto it.
That's some grit right there.
Yeah, I'm going to keep asking the kids, I think, if Dan Campbell motivates them. I'm hoping one of these kids busts into a Dan Campbell impression. That'd be kind of the ultimate goal for me. Yeah. Even one of the coaches, if they want. I guess he's a coach, so maybe one of the coaches are going to go into that. If they make the Super Bowl, maybe I'll do a Dan Campbell impression here on Unscripted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not that I would be the best qualified to do that, but
no, I would still really want to see it.
So there we go. Let's let them know downstate that that's the motivation to get to the big game, not the Super Bowl itself.
No, yeah, that'll definitely be what motivates them.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Harrison. You can watch that full Jimmy John Sports Corner with the bowling team on our website right now, UpNorthLive.com. We're going to take one more commercial break, but coming up next, we will take another look at our question of the day and those live results and a couple of Facebook comments. Stay with us.
Salon services are furnished by Epiphany Advanced Academy in East Acme.
Our question of the day today is related to Mark Chalette's story about a piece of land in Leelanau County that is going back to its original stewards, the Grand Traverse Band of Ottawa and Chippewa Indians. So, do you think more land should be given back to the Native American tribal bands in northern Michigan? Not a lot has changed. We have more votes now, but still 60% saying no, 40% saying yes. A few comments on our Facebook page. Elaine says, is this even a real question? Absolutely. Jeff says, if it was unlawfully taken from them, yes. And Charlie says, if the Native American tribal bands in northern Michigan is legally entitled to the land, then of course, yes. Join the conversation on our Facebook page. Well, that'll do it tonight for Unscripted. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you back here at 11 o'clock. Take care, everyone. Thank you.